Act as if nothing affects you. What if I told you the most powerful thing you'll ever do in your life is not react? What if I told you that your strength, your peace, your future depends not on what happens to you, but on what you choose not to let affect you? Let me take you back. I was in a hospital once, not for me, but for someone I loved. I was sitting next to a brother who had just lost his mother. He was quiet, still, stone-faced. While everyone else was breaking down, screaming, begging God for answers, he just sat there, calm. Someone said, "Don't you even care?" And he whispered back, "I care so much, I can't afford to lose control." That hit me like a punch in the chest, because that's what this life demands. Control, composure, calm, not because nothing hurts, but because your purpose is bigger than your pain. The world doesn't deserve to dictate your emotions. You don't owe the world a reaction. Let that truth settle deep inside your spirit, because the moment you internalize that, something shifts. You begin to realize how much of your energy, your time, your peace, and your identity you've been giving away just because the world expected you to respond. Every glare, every insult, every setback, every betrayal, you treated it like it deserved your attention, your outrage, your soul. But it didn't. It never did. And it never will. There's a quiet kind of power in being unbothered. Not cold, not numb, but grounded. See, the world has a script for you. It wants to provoke you. It wants to pull your strings. It wants to press every button, every scar, every past wound you carry. And every time you react without control, it's like handing the world a remote to your emotions. You're giving people you don't even respect the power to ruin your day. That's too expensive. Your peace is too valuable to be up for auction. You have to start asking yourself, what's the cost of my reaction? What am I sacrificing just to prove a point? Just to clap back? Just to defend myself to someone who already decided not to understand me? Because here's the truth. Most people don't want to understand you. They want to control you. They want to throw shade and sit back and watch you burn. They're looking for the show, and when you break, when you explode, when you spiral, that's entertainment to the people who don't care about your healing. That's why acting as if nothing affects you is not weakness. It's not arrogance. It's not pretending. It's discipline. It's choosing your growth over your ego. It's deciding that not every attack deserves your energy. It's knowing that peace is a skill, not a personality trait. You have to train for it, because life will keep testing you. You ever notice that the people who provoke you the most often have the least going for themselves? That's not a coincidence. Misery loves company. And when people see you rising, when they see your light, when they see you doing something they're too afraid or too lazy to do, they'll try to dim it. Not with fists, but with subtle digs. With silence when you needed support. With criticism masked as concern. And if you're not careful, you'll spend your life reacting to people who secretly want to see you fall. That's why you've got to make a decision. Today. Right now. I don't owe the world a reaction. Because the world didn't create me. God did. And God doesn't need me to react. He needs me to respond with wisdom. He needs me to grow. He needs me to focus. He needs me to carry out the purpose He planted in me before the foundations of the earth. That purpose, that mission. It's too high for me to be arguing with people stuck in low places. You've got to become so focused, so spiritually mature, so grounded in who you are, that the drama of the world becomes background noise. That doesn't mean you don't feel things. Of course you do. You're human. You cry. You get hurt. You get angry. But you don't hand that pain to the world to manipulate. You process privately and execute publicly. You stop telling your enemies where you're bleeding. You stop letting small people drain your big destiny. And I know what you're thinking. But Les, they disrespected me. They betrayed me. They attacked me. Yes, they did. But your comeback isn't in your words. It's in your eyes. It's in the fact that you kept your head high when they tried to pull you low. That you kept your peace when they wanted a war. That you kept building when they tried to break you. Your emotions are sacred. They are not for the streets. They are not for random people on social media. They are not for the people who ghosted you, ignored you, or tried to sabotage your calling. Your emotions belong to you and to the God who is shaping you through every storm. You have to become the kind of person who walks through fire and doesn't smell like smoke, who loses battles but keeps their soul, who grieves in silence and returns stronger, who knows that dignity doesn't come from shouting louder, it comes from standing taller. Don't let the world cheapen your character. Don't let the chaos convince you that you have to be chaotic too. Don't become what hurt you. Don't become what betrayed you. Don't become what tried to destroy you. Instead, become someone the world can't move, someone whose silence speaks volumes, someone who doesn't flinch in the face of foolishness. Act as if nothing affects you, not because it doesn't, but because you've decided that nothing will stop your growth, steal your joy, or derail your destiny. Because once you make that decision, you take back your life. You take back your power. You take back your mind. And that's when you truly start living. Learn to be the thermostat, not the thermometer you ever walk into a room and feel it hit you. The energy, the tension, the stress. Sometimes you don't even need to hear a word. Something's off and suddenly your mood changes. You tighten up, you go quiet. You match the energy in the space without realizing you've just handed over your peace. That's being a thermometer. You reflect the temperature around you instead of controlling your own. And most people, that's exactly how they live. Reactive, triggered, ruled by whatever environment they're in. But I'm here to tell you, you were never meant to be a thermometer. You were born to be the thermostat. You were created not to react, but to set the tone. That means when you walk into a room filled with fear, you bring faith. When it's filled with chaos, you bring calm. When it's filled with gossip, you bring grace. When it's filled with doubt, you bring confidence. Because the world doesn't need more people echoing the problem. It needs people who are the answer. See, the thermostat doesn't wait for the room to change. It decides what the room will become. And that's how you need to move through this life, with that kind of authority, that kind of groundedness, that kind of emotional discipline. Not because you think you're better than anyone, but because you've made a decision. I'm not letting someone else's dysfunction determine my peace. I'm not letting someone else's storm pull me into chaos, but you don't get there by accident. This is a choice. It's a practice. You have to train yourself not to absorb the negativity, the stress, the pressure, because it will come. People will bring it into your space, like a virus trying to infect your spirit, and if you're not vigilant, you'll carry it with you. You'll start treating other people based on how someone else treated you. You'll be short with your kids because your coworker was nasty. You'll lash out at your partner because a stranger was rude to you on the street. That's thermometer living. That's a fragile way to go through life. You want strength. Strength is keeping your composure when everything around you is trying to make you crack. Strength is showing up with love in a room full of bitterness. Strength is leading with peace when everything inside you wants to retaliate. And that kind of strength isn't loud. It doesn't need applause. It doesn't need to prove anything. It's silent. It's steady. It's immovable. I remember a story about a man who was wrongly accused, fired from his job, humiliated in front of his coworkers. Everyone expected him to lose it, to scream, fight back, curse the company. But he walked out with his head high, peaceful, poised. When someone asked him later how he stayed so calm, he said, "Because I know who I am. And I know that what they did has nothing to do with my identity or my future." Now that's a thermostat. That's a person who understands that external chaos doesn't have to cause internal destruction. That just because things are falling apart around you doesn't mean they have to fall apart in you. Being the thermostat means taking control of your own temperature, your attitude, your energy, your tone. Even when people are pushing your buttons, testing your limits, trying to provoke you, you stay in control because you've already decided, I set the climate, not them. And here's the thing, you don't just do this for you. You do it for others because people are watching, your kids, your family, your friends. Your team, they're watching to see if you crack under pressure or if you stay grounded in purpose. And when they see you rise above the noise, when they see you stay level in a storm, they learn what leadership looks like. They learn what faith looks like. They learn what freedom looks like. You become an example, not of perfection, but of power. The power to choose peace over panic, grace over ego, wisdom over impulse. When the world is on fire, you become the water, not because you don't feel the heat, but because you've become bigger than it. You've developed the capacity to walk into the most broken places and still bring healing, to walk into confusion and still bring clarity. That's what real influence is. That's what real transformation is. So don't just react. Don't mirror chaos. Don't absorb everything thrown at you. You walk in, stand tall, and set the temperature. Because once you learn to be the thermostat, you stop being controlled and you start being the one who leads. What they think of you is not your business. Let me tell you something, and I want you to carve this into your spirit like it's your lifeline. What they think of you is not your business. Their opinions, their judgments, they're whispering behind your back the posts they make, the things they assume, the way they roll their eyes or twist your story. None of it is your business. That's their noise. That's their confusion. That's their insecurity. Don't pick it up. Don't make it yours. Because here's the truth. Too many of us are living our lives like puppets, strings being pulled by other people's thoughts. Somebody doubts us and we start doubting ourselves. Somebody criticizes us and we shrink. Somebody gossips about us and we lose sleep. We go from confident to insecure, from focused to frantic, all because someone else had something to say. And we act like their opinion holds the key to our future. No, it doesn't. Not even close. You have to stop letting the noise outside drown out the voice inside. There was a time in my life when I cared deeply about what people thought of me. I wanted to be liked. I wanted to be accepted. I wanted to be understood. But what I didn't realize was that trying to please everyone was killing my spirit. I was bending, folding, adjusting just to avoid judgment, and still, the judgment came still. People found something to criticize. And I had to learn the hard way you can give the world your best, and they'll still tear you down. So what do? You stop trying to manage people's perception of you. You stop explaining yourself to people who already made up their minds. You stop editing your personality to fit into rooms that were never meant to hold your greatness. You stop fighting battles that don't belong to you, because people are going to talk whether you win or lose, whether you rise or fall, whether you succeed or struggle. Some folks don't want the truth. They want something to twist. And no matter how kind you are, no matter how much you give, there will always be someone who decides to misunderstand you. Let them misunderstand you. Let them misjudge you. Let them gossip. Let them laugh. Let them roll their eyes, because while they're talking, you keep walking. You see, acting as if nothing affects you, doesn't mean you don't care about life. It means you've chosen to no longer be a slave to outside validation. It means your worth is no longer up for public opinion. It means you've taken your power back from people who don't even know your full story. And let me be clear, this isn't about arrogance. It's about alignment. You're aligning with who you really are, with the truth of your calling, with the purpose that God planted in you. And when you're aligned, you don't need applause. You don't need permission. You don't need people to clap for you before you move forward. You've got to get to a point where the only validation you need is from within, where the only opinion that guides your steps is God's, because He didn't ask the crowd when He made you. He didn't consult your haters when He gave you that dream. He didn't ask for a poll when He called you to rise. So why would you let their words dictate your next move? You're not here to impress. You're here to impact. And impact doesn't always come with likes, shares, and approval. Sometimes it comes with rejection. Sometimes it comes with misunderstanding. Sometimes it comes with being talked about, lied on, or left out. But don't let that shake you. Keep showing up, keep doing the work, keep living boldly, because eventually they'll see. Maybe not today, maybe not next month, but the same people who laughed at you, they'll watch you win. The same ones who doubted you, they'll watch you lead. The same ones who said you'd never make it, they'll speak your name with respect. When you're no longer seeking their approval, you've got to protect your peace like it's sacred, because it is. You've got to guard your heart like it holds gold, because it does. And you've got to remind yourself every single day their opinion is not my responsibility. Let them talk. Eyes forward, shoulders back, heart full. Because you don't need to be understood to be unstoppable. Pain is a signal, not a sentence you're gonna hurt. Let's stop pretending otherwise. Let's stop selling the lie that strength means never breaking. Because even the strongest among us bleed. Even the most resilient have moments where they can't sleep at night, moments where their chest feels heavy, moments where tears come without warning. That's life. That's being human. That's the price of loving, trying, living. But here's the key. Pain is a signal, not a sentence. It's not where your story ends. It's not your identity. It's not your name. It's just a message. And the problem is, too many people take the pain and build their house in it. They settle there. They start believing the lie that just because they're hurting now, they'll always hurt. They think this is just how life is. I guess this is who I am now. No. Pain is a messenger. It's knocking on the door of your soul saying, pay attention. Something's trying to shift. Something's trying to grow. Something's trying to be born in you. You have to learn how to feel it without becoming it. To sit with it without letting it dictate your destiny. You were never meant to build your life around your wounds. You were meant to learn from them, rise through them, and walk forward with wisdom. Because pain always comes with purpose. If you're willing to listen, you ever touched something hot? What happens? Pain shoots through your hand. That's your body saying, move. This will destroy you if you stay here. That's what pain does. It signals danger, signals the need for change, signals where you've been living too long in what no longer serves you. But emotional pain, we ignore that signal. We try to bury it, numb it, drink it away, scroll it away, smile through it. Or worse, we wear it like a badge. We let it define us. We say, I'm the one who was cheated on. I'm the one who was abandoned. I'm the one who failed. And suddenly, pain becomes our identity instead of our awakening. You see, when you act as if nothing affects you, it doesn't mean you deny your pain. It means you own it without letting it own you. It means you've developed the maturity to say, this hurts. Yes, I didn't see it coming. Yes, I cried. But this pain won't be the end of me. It'll be the start of something deeper. Because the truth is, pain doesn't come to stop you. It comes to shape you. That heartbreak, it taught you how to love yourself. That betrayal, it taught you who's really in your corner. That loss, it taught you what matters most. That failure, it showed you what you're capable of surviving. Every single wound carved a deeper strength into your soul. So don't resent the pain. Learn from it. Let it make you kinder, stronger, wiser, more compassionate. You don't have to act like it didn't happen. You don't have to plaster a fake smile on your face. But you do have to decide that this will not be your final chapter. And hear me. Getting back up doesn't mean the pain is gone. It means you refuse to let it stop you. It means you've realized something powerful. You get up because it hurts. Because you know deep down, if it didn't matter, you wouldn't feel it. And anything that moves your soul that deeply, it's calling you to grow. So grow. Grow through the tears. Grow through the silence. Grow through the nights that feel endless. Grow even when no one sees you trying. Grow until one day you look back and realize the thing that almost broke you, built you. Life will not stop testing you. There will be more losses, more changes, more unexpected turns. But now you'll know how to respond. You'll say, hear you, pain. I feel you, but I'm still going to rise. I still have work to do. I still have people to love. I still have greatness inside me, because pain is part of the process, but it's not the promise. The promise is on the other side. The strength, the breakthrough, the purpose. And that promise is worth every tear, every ache, every lonely night. So don't stop here. This isn't the end. This is the signal. And now, it's time to move. Your power is in your pause. I used to think that power meant having the last word, that strength was in the clap back, in proving someone wrong, in defending myself at all costs. If someone disrespected me, I'd strike back with words that could cut. If someone doubted me, I'd work overtime just to show them up. I lived for the moment, fueled by adrenaline, pride, and emotion. But I learned the hard way that the strongest response isn't loud. It's not fast. It's not even public. The strongest response is stillness. There's a difference between reacting and responding. Reaction is instant. It's raw, emotional, impulsive. It doesn't ask questions. It doesn't wait for clarity. It just moves. But response is rooted. It's thoughtful. It's strategic. It's wise. And it starts with one thing most people overlook. The pause. That pause, it's everything. It's the difference between peace and regret, between building something and burning it down, between stepping into your higher self and staying stuck in your ego. Because when you pause, you give yourself a gift, the gift of choice. The world might push you, provoke you, try to speed you up, but the pause slows everything down so you can hear yourself think. Hear God whisper, hear wisdom over the noise. Most of us have been trained to go off, to defend, to clap back, to prove. But that's not power. That's fragility in disguise. Real power isn't about showing everyone how tough you are. It's about knowing who you are so deeply that you don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to match someone's energy just because they came in loud and reckless. You stay grounded even when the earth beneath you shakes. And that strength, it comes from your ability to pause. Let me tell you something I've learned. People will bait you. Life will provoke you. You will be challenged in ways that make you want to explode. And if you're not disciplined, you'll say or do something in a moment of heat that'll cost you peace for weeks. You'll trade your dignity for temporary satisfaction. You'll win the argument but lose your soul. That's why I've come to believe that the pause is not weakness. It's warrior training. It's what separates the impulsive from the intentional, the immature from the wise, the reactors from the leaders. You want to win in life. You want to rise, lead, build, become. Then you've got to master your pause. Learn to breathe before you speak. Learn to listen before you defend. Learn to process before you move. Because that space between action and reaction, that's where power lives. That's where growth happens. That's where destiny is protected. You don't have to respond to everything. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't have to fix every misconception or battle every critic. Some things are just noise, and the more you pause, the easier it is to recognize what's real and what's a trap. And the truth is, when you pause, you not only protect yourself, you protect your future. Because the decisions you make in anger, in fear, in stress, often become the regrets you carry into tomorrow. But when you pause, you give tomorrow a fighting chance. You make room for clarity. You give grace a seat at the table. There's a power that comes when you realize you don't owe the world your rage. You owe yourself your peace. You owe yourself your progress. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. Not because you're defeated, but because you've decided that your energy is too expensive to waste on moments that don't matter in the long run. Stillness is a skill. It's a strength. And it's something you can build one moment at a time. The next time you feel that rush, that need to lash out, to clap back, to react, pause. Ask yourself, what will this cost me? Who will I become if I let this moment control me? And if the answer doesn't bring you closer to who you're trying to become, choose silence, choose stillness, choose strength, because real power doesn't panic. Real power doesn't chase applause. Real power doesn't seek revenge. Real power pauses. So practice it, train for it, live in it. Let your stillness speak louder than your enemies. Let your peace confuse the chaos. Let your pause be your greatest weapon in a world that wants you triggered, reactive, and distracted. You're not here to lose yourself in moments. You're here to master them. And it starts not with shouting, but with the pause. Keep your vision louder than the voices. You will never live a vision-driven life without facing a voice-driven world. The moment you dare to dream, to rise, to move differently, to chase something greater, there will be voices, loud ones, familiar ones, voices from friends who doubt you, family who doesn't understand you, coworkers who mock you, and strangers who write you off without even knowing your heart. There will be voices reminding you of your past, your failures, your flaws, and your fears. Voices that question your qualifications. Voices that call your dream too much, too late, too unrealistic. Voices that will try to define your limits and write your story for you. But hear me, you were never created to follow voices. You were created to follow vision. Because voices are temporary, but vision is eternal. What they say changes with the wind. But what God placed in your heart, that's divine. That's sacred. And your job is to protect it like treasure. You've got to live in such a way that your vision is louder than the voices. That what you see for your life, what you believe, what you're building, is so vivid, so real, so present in your spirit that the noise can't shake you. That you don't need outside validation to feel strong. That when the critics speak, they echo in an empty room because you stopped renting space in your soul to opinions that don't pay your purpose. Your dream must become your internal soundtrack. You have to wake up every morning and speak it louder than your doubt. You have to declare it louder than your fears. You've got to see it so clearly in your mind that when life tries to blindside you, you're still locked in, still moving forward. The truth is, most people won't see what you see because God didn't show them what He showed you. It wasn't their vision, it was yours. So stop expecting everyone to applaud what they don't understand. Stop asking for support from people who were never assigned to your calling. You want to live on another level? Then expect resistance. Expect silence from those you once leaned on. Expect critics to get louder the closer you get to your calling. But don't let that stop you. Let it sharpen you. Let it fuel you. Let it remind you that what you're building is real. Because if it didn't matter, it wouldn't be attacked. This journey you're on, it's not for the faint-hearted. It's not for those who need permission. It's for the relentless, the focused, the ones who keep walking when the path disappears, the ones who believe even when no one claps, the ones who keep showing up, not for recognition, but because the fire inside won't let them quit. Let them talk. Let them whisper. Let them laugh. You don't need their confirmation. You need your consistency. You need your clarity. You need your commitment. And let me tell you something else, the loudest voice you will ever have to overcome is the one in your own head, that voice that says, you're not enough, you can't do this, you're too late. That's the voice you have to outshout. That's the voice you silence by taking action, by showing up, by doing the work. Over and over again, you want to silence doubt, outwork it. You want to silence fear, outlast it. You want to silence critics, outgrow them. Your vision must become your compass, not your feelings, not your insecurities, not the opinions of people who wouldn't last a day in your shoes. Vision, that's your anchor, that's your focus, that's your why. So when the noise gets loud, and it will, you go louder, you speak your dream, you breathe your vision, you walk in your calling, you rise like it's already done. Because in the end, it's not about proving them wrong. It's about proving yourself right. It's about becoming who God called you to be. And don't get it twisted. Your vision will cost you. It'll cost you comfort. It'll cost you relationships. It'll cost you fitting in. But what you gain, peace, purpose, power, alignment, impact. You were not made to echo the voices. You were made to create vision. So block out the noise. Stay focused. Keep your eyes on the promise, not the problem. Because when your vision gets loud enough, the voices fade. You don't have to yell back. Just build. Just rise. Just live. Let your results do the talking. Keep your vision louder than the voices. And one day, the world that tried to silence you will have no choice but to listen. Calm is a superpower. Use it to build, not burn in a world that's always screaming, rushing, and reacting. Calm is rare. Calm is quiet strength. Calm is control. Calm is power. And in your most chaotic moments, when your emotions are loud and the world is louder, you'll find that your calm is not just a response. It's a weapon. Let me take you back to a woman who changed the way I look at life. She wasn't rich. She wasn't famous. She didn't command a stage or have thousands of followers. She was a teacher. Her classroom was worn, her paycheck was small, and the people around her often carried stress like armor. She taught students who had seen more pain than most adults. Many came from broken homes. Some were dealing with trauma, and discipline was a daily battle. But every morning, she walked into that room like peace itself. She had this stillness in her, like no matter what chaos surrounded her, she remained centered, unshaken. I watched her, day after day, handling outbursts with grace, disobedience with quiet firmness, and even disrespect with a calm that silenced the room. One afternoon, I had to ask her, "How do you stay so calm?" She smiled and said, "Because I'm not here for applause. I'm here for impact." Those words pierced something deep in me, and they stuck. Because in that moment, I realized calm isn't weakness. Calm is mission. Calm is a mindset rooted in something greater than ego, greater than noise, greater than self. You see, when you live from purpose, not pressure, you don't let chaos dictate your decisions. When you are grounded in vision, you don't need to react, you can respond. And that's a different level of maturity. That's strength most people will never understand. Most people think they win by being the loudest voice in the room, by firing back quicker, or proving their dominance through control and volume. But the truth, the most powerful person in the room is the one who can stay calm when everyone else loses their mind. Calm gives you clarity. Calm gives you control. Calm gives you the ability to choose your next move, not just react to life's punches. We live in a time where people confuse intensity with power. But fire without direction burns everything in its path. Just because you're passionate doesn't mean you need to explode. Just because you're angry doesn't mean you need to respond. Just because you're hurt doesn't mean you need to strike back. Sometimes the most radical thing you can do is breathe, because you don't build anything lasting from storms. You build from stillness, from focus, from being centered, from being rooted in something deeper than how you feel in the moment. And let me tell you something, your peace will offend people who profit off your panic. Your calm will confuse people who expect chaos. But that's not your problem, that's your power. You are not here to match energy. You're here to raise it. You're not here to react to drama. You're here to rise above it. You're not here to prove yourself through yelling and noise. You're here to prove it by your fruit, by what you build, by what you create, by what you leave behind. So how do you develop that kind of calm? You slow down. You get quiet with yourself. You protect your inner world like it's sacred, because it is. You stop giving energy to things that don't grow you. You stop chasing applause and start chasing alignment. You realize that peace is not found in your surroundings. It's cultivated inside you. And when that peace is unshakable, no insult, no betrayal, no unexpected blow can pull you off course. You become like a tree, roots deep in purpose, branches flexible in the wind, but never moved from your core. Calm is not about suppressing emotions. It's about mastering them. It's not about acting like everything's okay. It's about choosing not to give your power away to things that aren't worthy of it. So the next time life tries to set your emotions on fire, pause, breathe, step back, ask yourself, is this helping me build or burn? You can't build legacy out of chaos. You build it brick by brick, decision by decision, moment by moment. When you lead with clarity, not confusion. With purpose, not pettiness. With vision, not vengeance. Remember this, you don't owe anyone a reaction. You don't need to prove you're strong by shouting. You prove it by walking in peace when you had every reason to go to war. Let them rage. Let them spin in circles. Let them misunderstand your silence. You just keep building. Calm is your superpower. Use it wisely, because the world doesn't need more noise. It needs more builders, and builders need peace. Let silence be your revenge. In a noisy world obsessed with attention, Silence is the loudest statement you can make. People crave a reaction. When they talk behind your back, when they try to discredit you, when they throw stones, they're not just trying to hurt you, they're trying to pull you into the drama, into the mud, into the fight. Because the moment you respond, the moment you step down from your focus to acknowledge them, they win something. They've distracted you from your growth. But silence is the ultimate disruption. When you stop talking and start working, you change the game. Let them talk. Let them doubt. Let them sit in their assumptions. Meanwhile, you're building, you're rising, you're evolving quietly, consistently, powerfully. There's a certain type of maturity that comes when you stop needing to prove your worth to people who never took the time to understand your journey. And that's what silence gives you. It gives you distance. Distance from the noise. Distance from the ego. Distance from the emotional triggers that would have once thrown you off track. It's not weakness. It's wisdom. Let's be real. Most people are looking for a show. They want the argument. They want the posts, the subtweets, the reactions, the outbursts. That's the world we live in. Perform your pain, post your response, prove you're strong by clapping back. But true strength, it doesn't need a stage. It doesn't need an audience, because winning doesn't always make noise. Sometimes it looks like discipline. Sometimes it looks like showing up to the gym at 5 a.m. while they sleep. Sometimes it looks like reading books while they scroll. Sometimes it looks like building your business quietly while they gossip loudly. It's not that you don't feel the betrayal. It's not that the pain didn't cut deep. It's not that you don't want to scream sometimes. But what you've learned is that not every battle deserves your energy. Some victories are found in not responding. Not because you're afraid, but because you're focused. Not because you're weak, but because you've grown. There's something powerful about being underestimated, about being counted out, about being mocked, then moving in silence and letting the results speak on your behalf. You don't need to announce your moves. You don't need to clap back. You don't need to tell them what you're working on. You just become it. Live it. Breathe it. Embody it. And when they finally notice, and they will, it won't be because you told them. It'll be because your life became the response. See, the greatest revenge is not in revenge at all. It's in rising. It's when they look back and say, I thought they were done. How did they come back stronger? And your only answer is this: I stopped explaining myself to people who weren't invested in my growth. When you move in silence, your power multiplies, your vision sharpens, your circle gets smaller but stronger, and your goals stop being dreams. They start becoming proof. They want noise. Give them silence. They want reaction. Give them distance. They want war. Give them peace. Because when you stop wasting your breath on people who doubt you, you start catching your wind. You breathe deeper. You think clearer. You build faster. Silence is not passive. It's intentional. It's not hiding. It's healing. It's not weakness. It's strategy. There's an old saying, a lion doesn't turn when a small dog barks. Why? Because the lion has nothing to prove. The lion knows who it is. And you must know who you are. Know your vision. Know your mission. Know your lane. And when distractions come, because they will, you smile, you nod, and you keep going. This isn't about ego. This is about elevation. Let them gossip. Let them slander. Let them tell their version. While they're busy talking, you'll be busy building a life they can't even explain. A peace they can't understand. A success they never saw coming. And when the moment finally comes, when they see the version of you that grew in silence, that healed in silence, that leveled up in silence, they'll ask, how did you do it? And you'll smile, not to be smug, but because you earned that peace. And you'll say, because I no longer needed to prove anything to people who weren't praying for me, believing in me, or building with me. That's what silence does. It protects your power, focuses your energy, and delivers a revenge they never saw coming. A life that speaks for itself. Strength is found in who you don't become. There is a quiet kind of strength that doesn't shout, doesn't react, and doesn't match the chaos around it. It just refuses to become what tried to break it. That's real power. You're going to be tempted again and again. Tempted to clap back. Tempted to stoop down to someone else's level. Tempted to defend your name, to throw your energy into a battle you never needed to fight. And when that moment comes, something inside of you is going to whisper, don't. Because you've been down that road before. You've raised your voice to people who never deserved your words. You've matched energy that drained your soul. You've fought battles that cost your peace. And what did it give you? A temporary sense of control, maybe. But deep down, it always left you feeling empty, because you were becoming what hurt you. And that's never worth it. You're not here to match energy anymore. You're here to preserve it. Let people be loud. Let them twist the story. Let them operate in chaos. You walk away, not because you're weak, but because you're finally wise. There's a deeper strength in silence, in restraint, in choosing not to become someone else's mirror, in choosing yourself, your peace, your future over proving a point. You know how many times you've been pulled into the storm by people who had no direction. You know how much time you've wasted trying to fix, explain, or change people who didn't even want to grow. That's not your job anymore. You've cried enough tears over people who made you feel like you were the problem. You've lost enough sleep wondering why they couldn't see your worth. You've bent, you've shrunk, you've contorted yourself into silence, into frustration, into a shell of who you were just to make others feel comfortable. But here's the truth. Your strength isn't found in your ability to yell louder. It's found in your decision to no longer become what you've outgrown. You don't need revenge. You don't need to make a scene. You don't need to tell your side. You need to keep becoming the version of you your future is counting on. And that version, they're calm. They're focused. They don't chase arguments. They chase peace. They don't need approval. They've accepted themselves. They don't need applause. They're driven by purpose. So the next time you're triggered, remember every reaction is a withdrawal from your inner bank of energy. Ask yourself, is it worth it? Does responding to this give me peace or take it away? Because sometimes strength looks like letting go. Sometimes it's walking away and never explaining why. Sometimes it's keeping your mouth shut, not because you're scared, but because you've finally learned peace is more valuable than pride. You've been broken before by things that never deserved your power. Don't hand it away again. You've argued with people who were committed to misunderstanding you. Let them. You've tried to heal in environments that kept reopening your wounds. Leave them. You've stayed in rooms where your presence was tolerated but never celebrated. Exit quietly. This is your time now. Not to become cold, but to become clear. Not to become distant, but to become disciplined. Not to become harder, but to become wiser. Let others throw the first stone. Let others spread the gossip. Let others burn the bridges. You build your own path with peace, with strength, with purpose. You're not weak for not reacting. You're wise enough to know where your energy belongs. And the truth is, your future doesn't need you to prove a point. It needs you to protect your progress. You've already lost enough time being someone you weren't: angry, anxious, reactive, people-pleasing. No more. Not now. Not ever again. Your strength is in who you don't become. Not becoming bitter, even though you were betrayed. Not becoming vengeful, even though you were used. Not becoming hardened, even though life hasn't been fair. You rise, you move, you grow. You choose peace even when war is easier. That's strength. And when they ask you how you stayed so composed, how you kept your focus, how you didn't break under the pressure, your answer will be simple. I chose not to become the pain. I chose to become the person I needed. I chose to become better, because real power is silent. And real strength is never in who you fight. It's in who you refuse to become. I want to leave you with this. You are not cold. You are not heartless. You are not numb. You are focused. You are choosing your battles. You are saving your energy for your growth. You are protecting your soul from nonsense. You are acting as if nothing affects you, because not everything deserves the right to affect you. Stand tall. Walk quietly. Win loudly. And never let the noise of the world mute the voice of your calling. Because your destiny is too sacred to be shaken by something small. It's your time. Let's go.